to speak them, to explain them the rules. It doesn't matter that in Hungarian or in English. I don't know what is the teaching system for coaches in Israel, but so I don't know if they have lectures about the rules or refereeing. I can tell you that in Hungary, practically there is nothing. Unfortunately, several times I proposed to the president of the Coaches Commission in Hungary that please give information about the rules and the refereeing to the coaches, because it would, in this case, there would be less stress, less problems on the matches. Until now, my initiation was not effective. So I don't know what is the system in Israel, but let me ask if I can ask who knows what kind of documents are prepared for the rules and the refereeing. Of course, the rule book, this is our first Bible. Okay. Anybody can tell from the coaches what are the documents, what are the materials do we have? More? Or it's better to tell normally and not to ask questions. So we have altogether 3 documents. We have rule books containing the basic rules. It have only the rules. We have guidelines with the instructions how to apply the rules. It can be modified in every year or in every 2 years. So all temporary regulations can be put into this material. And we have the case book, the 3rd one, which has actually about 100 cases, most of them including videos. So these cases are explained in this case book, and it's a very good tool how to apply the rules on the matches by the referees. I have to tell you that our rules are still complicated. However, our intention in FIVB in the last 10, 20, 15 years, we have intention to simplify as much as possible the rules, but we have still complicated rules. Let me compare you that when the volleyball was invented, the very first period, the rules were written 1 A3 page, no more. Today we have about a rule book with 80 pages. So it's very complicated. I don't know that, I don't say that we have to return to the first period with the A3 page. So let's go further to the next slide, what we are talking about today. With Roy, we discussed a lot about the content of our lecture today, and we agreed that to speak about everything, it would be 2-3 days, but we have approximately 1 hour. So we had to focus these topics what are in the first slide. Something about the cooperation and communication between the coaches and referees, which is very important for us, and some problematic rules to review, and at the end some questions and answers can be given if you have questions. Okay, let's go further. To be honest, the referees and the coaches will never understand completely why. And if I can ask the next bullet, because the coaches want to win their match in any way, in any case. However, the referees must have one goal, that to let the better team to win. And it's written in the next bullet. So several times the coaches behave like a lion, like an attacking lion against the referees during the match. So we try to insist to the referees that as much as possible to eliminate the conflicts during the match and mainly after the match. I saw several times that the losing coach after the match, even the referees were on the court after the match, leaving the court, attacked immediately and tried to protest, tried to argue with the referees. This is one of the worst image for me, that the participants, except the players, attack and have a fight on the court. It is true that what is written on the below the slide, our common goal is to serve the volleyball in own position. So it doesn't matter what is on the match, or what position we have on the bench or on the referee's chair. We need to serve our beloved sport, beloved discipline. Let's go further. If we compare the actual volleyball to the volleyball, for example, 30 years ago, we can state that as the world has been changed, the volleyball changed as well. So if we see how the life is, how the world is, we see in the social life, aggressivity. The life is very fast, and we need excitement. In this case, the volleyball has to be the same. I say always that the sport, for example, the volleyball too, it's like a mirror of the social life. So if we compare the actual volleyball to the 30 years ago, we have more dynamism in our game, we have more aggressivity, and we have more attractivity, because the people like to watch this. In the past, there was the volleyball was a passion for 2 times 6 players playing volleyball. They play for our enjoy. Today, the volleyball should be an attractive, exciting show. I'm talking about the top volleyball, not the lower level volleyball. So the top volleyball must be a show and entertaining the spectators. It doesn't matter then inside or in front of the TV. Yes, we have 4 participants of the show. We have coaches. Before the match, they are very friendly. We have referees, and we have a third one, the spectator, the fans. And don't forget, and it's intentional layout of the slide, the most important participants are the players. They must have the main role in the show, what should be provided during a volleyball match. So we never understand, neither the coaches nor the referees, and nor the fans, nor the spectators, that they have the main role. Okay, let's go further. I say always, every participant have own job. The coach directs the team. The referee must whistle, must decide, and the fans enjoy the match. In my opinion, the show is perfect when every participant have to own perfect job. That is the key of one of the key of the success. For example, the coaches, because this is a lecture for the coaches. The coach activity on the match to conduct own team, of course, and they are trying to influence the referees. What does it mean? Several coaches told me that they try to find where are the limits, either the technical things or the behavior. What the referee on the actual match allows to do for the participants. because you should know very well the referee's approach or the understanding of the rules and application of the rules are different when he whistles on a lowest match, for example, mini players or junior players, and different when the match is on the top level. So every match has different limits, and the smart coach realizes the limit determined by the referee, and he stops. The not enough smart coach doesn't keep this limit, oversteps, and sometimes being surprised that he or she sanctioned, penalized. So let me propose you to realize where is the stop. Okay. What is the referee's responsibility on the other side? We insist always the referees to be behind the scenes, because he must understand that not the referee has the main role. But as written on the slide, it's necessary to show where is the limit. Where is the limit of behavior? Where is the limit of technical things? One of the worst referee, if, for example, regarding the ball handling, he keeps in the first set very high level, very strict, and after that, in the second set, the limit is going down, and after that, in the third set, going up again. So the players, the coaches, they don't know what to do, how to play on this match. So we insist always the referees try to keep a stable limit, stable line on the match. On the other hand, the referees has to try to understand the coaches and the players. Understanding these reactions from the other side can drive him to decide more smart way. In some situation, he should whistle. In some other situation, when the different condition, not to whistle, not to decide. The referee must have a kind of empathy towards the coaches and the players during the match. Unfortunately, we still have room to improve regarding the communication and behavior that the referee admits own mistake. Several referees has no feeling how to communicate, and several referees still think that they are kings or queens. They have the stones of wiseness. They know everything. So they decided finally, and no chance for complaint, no chance for question by the players. So we try to change their mind, and I'm almost sure that the top referees already understand what is their role, how to behave during the match, and they have a nice progress regarding this. The lower level referees are more problematic. Okay. I think it's a very important sentence. Cooperation and communication is the key point of success, practically in every teamwork. And because the volleyball refereeing it's a kind of teamwork, so we need to communicate during the match. What can be, please, next one, if I remember well, yes. What kind of situations can have a conflict point, can be a conflict point during the match? When the referee's decision is not clear for everybody. Not because the referee's decision was wrong, but the other side, the coaches or the players, they don't understand the rules, they don't understand the reason of the decision. By the way, in the bracket, in Hungary, we have a regulation that all top teams participating in the first division are obliged to nominate one player or one person to make a basic refereeing course to understand, to know the rules better than before. And it works quite well. I realized that there are less, not very much, but a little bit less problems on the matches after entering this system. And we have more basic referees who can be good referees in the future. So it's not a bad idea. Bracket closed. During the match, strongly require the communication by the referees. And let me show you some examples with good examples and with some bad examples. Let's go to Umit. Let's repeat again, because the situation was a served ball, and the ball landed close to the end line. The left coach already complained because the line judge showed something wrong. And look to the first referee. He reacted immediately the coach's reaction, and he showed that, hey boy, I saw the ball, I decided well, and if something wrong, I will overrule the signal of the line judge. So the communication was immediately done between the first referee and the coach, and the coach realized that, okay, the referee is in his makes his job correctly. Raised hand, okay, I realized, so no problem, let's go further. So with this mutual communication, without any card, without any whistle, just slight jest, the first referee showed where is the limit, and he expressed his ability, his authority to whistle and to decide correctly. Let's go to next one. Yes. This is a totally different attitude by the referees, by the first referee. He called the game, two game captains. And in this situation, it's obligatory that the first referee explain his decision or explain where is the limit. Boys, stop this behavior. Instead of doing this, he kept the whistle in his mouth without any word, just to make calm boys. And the boys didn't understand nothing because of the whistle, and there was no real communication with the referees. So I think it's a very bad example, and I hope that the referee colleagues never follow this. And there are another type of referee. We can realize that close to the antenna on the first referee side, there is a big mistake done by the first referee. Why? Because there was an attack and the ball went to the antenna from the block and not from the attacker, not the spiker, as the first referee called. And of course, the coach was immediately angry. The biggest problem is that the first referee was also angry when the game captain was there. And it's absolutely unacceptable. In such situation, the first referee has the job to explain his decision or to communicate with the colleagues to realize if his decision, if the original decision was correct or not. And in this case, he would have to change his decision. Instead of making angry face and almost attack the game captain, who was only asking what happened by this decision. So fortunately, this referee is already finished. So and hope no other referee will follow his example. So these are different attitudes from the referees, and I hope that the first example will be followed by most of referees. So let's go further. What is the actual FIVB intention regarding the coach's behavior? We know that we have too much very temperament, sometimes aggressive coaches in volleyball. This is the truth. And they want to steal the show which should be provided by the players. So they behave against the opponent, they behave against the referees or the jury. This also happened. You can see on the video. They show rude conduct, and the FIVB's leaders, they don't want to see such behavior on the match. So we try to eliminate, and it's true that the show cannot be stolen by the match. Let us see some examples about different coaches. The first is a Brazilian-Italian coach who is a real Mediterranean person and who wants to be in the court as much as possible, to be in the team as much as possible. And his behavior like a seventh player without ball. So if we go, what is the most important in this attitude? He is never against the referees. He does everything to help the team, at own team, and he's not against the opponent. So it can be allowed. Why not? It's a part of the show, and if there is not against the officials, no problem. Let's him do it. Okay, I think he is one example on the world. So I never seen such a similar coach. So it's a little bit funny, and his style is nice. Most important is not against the officials. Let's go. The next one is Zé Roberto, the famous Brazilian coach. This match was played in Brazil, in front of 10,000 Brazilian fans, and the ball was soft. Look, the coaches, the home coaches, Zé Roberto. He feels like a king at home in his empire, and entered the court, showed the ball something is wrong, blah blah blah. So the first referee has no chance to intervene, nor the second referee. And what is the biggest problem? Now is coming. He went to the referee delegate, showed the ball, and this action is still not finished. Look his face. It's absolutely unacceptable. Neither for home coach nor for anybody. And the problem is that the first referee had no courage to give a strong sanction against him, because yellow card is nothing. I suppose later a red card would be nothing. So this behavior is very close to the aggressive, attractive conduct, which requires a red and the yellow card in one hand. But the first referee had no courage. I asked her later on. Yes, he was not enough brave heart. In front of 10,000 Brazilian fans, she was lost. So this behavior should be eliminated by FIVB, although he's from Brazil. And the next one is Vital, twice World Championship winner coach of the Polish team. This match is a VNL match And let's stop in this moment, Alex. The ball was rebounding close to the spiker's shoulder. It was not clear that the ball touched the shoulder or not. We should know that this situation cannot be challenged. It's true. What a good coach or a normal coach reaction in this situation? He asked a challenge for the ball touch. Let's stop again. So normal coach ask a challenge for this situation, and referees will explain him that it's not allowed. It's not on the list which can be challenged. The clever coach, for example, Vital, realized immediately that this situation cannot be challenged, but it can be challenged antenna touch. And for antenna touch, and such a camera can be used which can watch, which can demonstrate if the ball touched the shoulder or not. He was enough clever, immediately decided to request a challenge for antenna. Okay, let's go further. So this is the surrounding of this situation. So it's normal. This is one important point of this situation. The second important point, that the first referee realized, or he knew, that if the camera shows only the antenna touch, the touch of shoulder cannot be shown if he wants to keep the challenge regulation letter by letter. In this case, a potential mistake remains in the match. But what was his intention? He asked the challenge operator and the challenge referee to show the complete procedure from the moment when the ball was close to the antenna until the moment when the ball touched or not the shoulder. And it was really demonstrated. The ball really touched the shoulder of the players. So the first referee took the risk to lose one challenge by him, because he discovered that he made a mistake during the decision, but no mistake remained on the match. And the third point was Vital's behavior after before the challenge. Can we go back a little bit? Somewhere here, yes. So until now, Vital's behavior was more or less acceptable. But what after he shows, I hope it's, no, let's go further. Let's go back, sorry.
Whatever you say, sir.
There was protesting. Now this is to show the eyes, and the English expression, what he said. Yes, this one is unacceptable. It's already unacceptable. So this kind of rude conduct, and not only unsportsmanlike behavior. So at the end, the first referee issued a yellow card. But in normal situation, it should be a red one. So Vital was over the limit. In any case, after receiving the yellow card, he was applauded by the home fans. He became like a hero because he gained one point to his team, although he received one yellow card, which is nothing. So this is also a kind of behavior. And to be honest, Vital is a very smart, very clever coach. He knows very well the rules. Out of match, we can discuss, we can communicate with him normally, absolutely normally. But when the first referee whistled the first on the match, a pink fog is in front of his eyes, and sometimes he's lost on the match. So that's all from about Vitals. I think this is the first part, the end of the first part. If anybody has question or just a remark, comment for this part, I think it's a good time. What is your opinion, Alex? Or let's go further.
I have a question.
Yes.
If it's okay. You said that the show cannot be stolen by the coach. Sometimes the coaches feel like the show stolen by the referee. This is the first thing that I want to say. And the second one, it's feel like sometimes it's feel like that the referee acts with one coach different than the other coach. Coach with a big name, a big name coach that he act different than a new coach or something like that. If you understand what I'm trying to say.
Absolutely understand, and I can tell you only our intention. That to insist the referees to understand that they are not in the middle of the show, not in the center of the show. As I told you, as on the slide was written, the referee must be behind, and only if it's necessary to step ahead. So if a referee doesn't understand this role, he's not a good referee. You understand? So I can provide what we, how can I say? I can tell you that our intention is this, but we cannot guarantee that the referees apply into the practice what they heard from us, or from the refereeing commission in Israel, or from the refereeing commission of CEV, or any other body. So I'm 100% sure that the leaders of the refereeing commissions, they understand what to require from the referees. But it's not a guarantee that it will be applied in the practice. The second remark from you, I fully agree with you. Some referees who has not authority, not a personality, who are afraid from big names of coaches, they really a different way, they handle different way different coaches. And this is also a big problem. I fully agree with you. I can tell you that it's also our intention to eliminate this, that to handle the different people different way. Try to be consistent for both teams. Let me ask, did you communicate with these referees after the match in normal situation, not when the referee just whistled, just finished the match? So after the match, in normal situation, did you communicate with him and ask him, "Hey boy, you are not the king, you are not the main role, you are not the main role. Please get back"? And if you did, what was the reaction of the referee?
It's a difficult question because probably when the coaches feel that the referee stolen the game, it's in the end of the game, in the end of the set, and you feel very angry about it. So you can, when you try to talk to the referee after the game, it's most of the time, I think it sounds not good. So you cannot, I think you cannot get an answer, a good answer from the referee because they think you are trying to attack him or something like that.
I'm talking about in normal situations. Normal situations, for example, during the seminar before the seasons, where referees are there, coaches are there, and to discuss about this topic. And believe me, before several seasons, we have a seminar for the coaches where one member of the refereeing commission gives a lecture about the rules, about the refereeing. And to be honest, such questions raised up also in Hungary, what you mentioned. And I took always informations. I learned always from the coaches too about such situations, and I try to transfer to the referees. Hey boys, you are not the kings, and so on. So try to insist them to get back. And also about the rules, coaches has such a questions which I can why not so? Why and I try to transfer to the commission and FIVB. Hey boys, it's better to revise this rule because it's problematic for the application for the coaches and etc. So what I wanted to talk, communication between the referees and the coach is very important. In normal situation, of course. I tell always the referees when there is after the match, if the losing coach is angry and he tries to attack you as referee and start a blah, 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 you were stupid, blah, blah, blah. The best referee's reaction is that, sir, now I have administrative task closing the match. When I finished, after 10 minutes, 15 minutes, I'm in your disposal. 99.9% of the cases, the angry coaches lost already the atmosphere in the brain. He's already with the players in the dressing room, evaluate the match, maybe complaining about the referees, but doesn't return with angry face to the coaches to discuss and fight. So in this case, the referee and also the coaches won the small fight, and they eliminate the fight, which is not good and in front of the spectators. So again, communication. And I cannot guarantee nothing. Just what we do is the referees not to be a king or queen. But Susanna is not a queen, so no problem. With her is nothing.
Okay. Anybody else? Any more comments? Okay. Laszlo, shall we continue?
Okay. So in this case, we can go.
If I may, a small comment. For the last couple of weeks, we've been talking to different referees and having internal discussions. And one of the things which always comes up is these seminars prior to the start of the season, where referees and or representatives of referees and coaches met. Unfortunately, here locally, it doesn't happen too much, and we need to establish this thing as a permanent, permanent situation when you always come before the start, when you have the possibility to talk a little bit, to educate a little bit, to have a common ground between the coaches and the referees, especially in the top league before each season. So
good idea.
Wait, I have a suggestion, if I can. I work as a scout, and not. I'm also a coach, but in the first league, I work as a scout. I film all the games that I'm working on them, and none of the Israeli referee, except one, I have to say, that asked me for the video to see how he act in the game. Why that it's not the coaches are film the game most of them, and try to learn from it, why doesn't the referee do it also?
I'm 100% sure that the Israeli Refereeing Commission is enough wise to take videos about the matches and then to analyze and to instruct the referees, not only the referees who are on the video, but all others, to learn from these videos. I'm 100% sure, but it's not my responsibility to express this feeling. So it's Alex or I don't know who is the responsible in this moment.
We'll take it offline and we'll continue this discussion in our local meetings. Thank you. There is a point, and I know about referees who do recording from home, especially for the televised matches, and we do watch them. We just don't go to you as the statistician or the scout to ask for the video, but that's okay. Let's continue.
Let me add something again, a Hungarian example. In Hungary, in the top league, all teams are obliged to make a recording about the match with a certain specifications behind the end line, high definition, blah, blah, blah. And they are obliged to put onto the website, onto the FTP server of the Hungarian Federation. I, as the president of the Refereeing Commission, has the right to access to these videos, to download. And if I heard something happened with capital letters on a match, I download the match, I cut, and sure, it will be analyzed either during the season, for example, a video questionnaire, or before the next seminar before the season, or on the next seminar before the season. So we profit the modern tools, videos, and so on in the education of the Refereeing Commission. And I'm sure that in Israel you do the similar, but of course I'm not responsible to explain this.
All right.
Okay. So let's go to the exact rules, to the professional things. So I suppose that the most important actions occur at the net: spike, block, net touch, penetration under the net to the opponent court. So the referees should focus very well during the match, during the rallies, when the ball is close to the net. This is one of the most important duty of the referees. And if they focus well, if they are concentrated well, they can judge correctly, really, if any mistake, any fault was committed close to the net. What to consider when they judge if it was legal action or not? The position of the ball, the direction of the ball, and position of the hand. These are the three main topics what he should quickly analyze, evaluate, and decide. And you know well that among the ball sports, the volleyball referees have the most difficult job. Why? Because every ball handling must analyze, must decide if it was legal or not. And several times, for example, when the ball is close to the net, very small period has to decide. You understand? In football, not so quick decision. In basketball, in handball, no problem. But in volleyball, the referee's job is very, very difficult. And you should understand as coach that it's not an easy job. Several times I propose the coaches who are attacking the referees. Hey, you are stupid, blah, blah, blah. Please go and sit to the referee's chair, try to whistle one training, 1 or 2 sets, and you realize that it's not so easy job. as from the coach's bench seems to be. Okay. So something about the rules. You know well that any front row players have the right to touch the ball above his own court. So to play the ball above the own court, there is no limitation. Let's go further. To spike or the set in the opponent space is a fault. It's always a fault. In the opponent space, only blocking is allowed. To spike or the set, to retrieve the ball above the net from the opponent's court, it's not allowed. We can call this situation, what is shown on the photo, the neutral space. The neutral space means that the ball is cut by the net plane. So it's absolutely above the net. In this ball, what is above in the neutral space, any front row players has the right to play. Okay, let's go. Yes. In this situation, if we see the yellow number 9, her finger is the crucial point when we decide her action, if it's illegal or legal. The red player is no problem, own space, but the number 9 is a little bit out. So this is the neutral space where both the players have the right to play the ball, if the fingers are in own space. Okay. We have, let me demonstrate these situations in two very similar examples. In both cases, a spiker versus opponent setter is shown. Susanna, hello. It's clear, let us stop, please. Okay, the black player's hand is in own space. The ball is in black team's space. So in this case, when the red middle spiker hit the ball in the opponent space, she commit a fault. Okay, it was a real penetration or reaching over the net. So absolutely correct decision was. Let us see another one. It's also a setter versus spiker. What is the difference between this situation and the previous situation? The position of the ball. Here the ball is like cut by the net plane. So the ball is in the neutral space. This ball can't be spiked by the white spiker because it was in the neutral space. However, the black back row setter, look where are the fingers? In the opponent space. Yes. So in the moment when the black setter hits the ball, immediately commits a fault. And it doesn't matter that after the spike, he committed also a back row block, but this fault was already the second one. So if we go back to the beginning of the video, we can see that the second referee shows it was an illegal back row, but theoretically it was a wrong decision because the first referee would have to whistle a penetration over the net. Okay, so what I want to tell you, so in the position of the ball was different in the two situations, and this was the base of the decision. In both situations, the referees decided well. Yes, the crucial point was the position of the ball. And let's stop a little bit in this point. If you test that different persons take a seat in different position of the stadium, of the hall, and after the match or after a situation, these people are asked what they saw, what they have seen. Maybe they tell us different meaning, different point of view. So what I wanted to tell you, that the same situation from different points, for example, from the referee stand and from the coach's position, can be seen, can be judged different way. So mainly, especially in such situation when the ball over the antenna, over the net, very close to the net, the first referee and the coach can have different idea what happened. So don't be surprised as a coach standing 5 or 6 meters from the net. You have different opinion than the first referee, because the first referee is in the plane of the net, and let us believe, let us trust him that he decides correctly. And don't start immediately fighting against the coach. It was penetration, blah, blah, blah. Let us trust him, okay? Thank you. Blocking, reaching beyond, Alex,
yeah.
Did you change the titles?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes, I did.
In this case, I'm a little bit confused. Okay, let's go back. Okay, so the title should be attack, hit versus blocking, because on the slides maybe my instruction was bad. Sorry. So attack, where to execute attack hit allowed only within own playing space, including of course the neutral space what I was talking about. However, the block can be done beyond the net too. But what is the crucial point? Only after the finishing the attacking opponent's attack hit. It's not allowed with to block with the reaching hand to block the internal pass, which are parallelly to the net plane, or the setter set the ball towards the own end line. So these balls cannot be blocked. Or, for example, a second hit or the first hit, there is no player close to the ball who is able and about to play it. So there is nobody to play the ball. And of course, we can block in the opponent space after the third hit of the opponent. It's normal. Okay, let's go further. We have two examples. And what I want to explain, several coaches and also several referees are not able to distinguish who has hit the ball first, the reaching blocker or the attacker player. For example, the attacker, the blue team, and the blocking team is the white one. In this case, the white blocker clearly hit the ball first, so it was an illegal reaching block. This is the crucial point. Who hit the ball first? And I don't remember if the first referee decided or not. Probably no, doesn't matter. Let me show you a legal reaching block. And to demonstrate what does it mean, there is nobody from the attacking team is able and about to play the ball. The ball is enough high, this ball is enough high not to rebound from the top of the band, so it is sure that no white player has chance to play the ball rebounding the net. And there is no jumping player trying to ball the net, to play the ball. In this case, this situation is legal by the penetrating block. So the referee's decision was correct. Okay. Several coaches and also among several referees, there are misunderstanding how to distinguish attack hit and blocking. What is the situation which is misunderstood? When a gift ball is coming from the opponent and one player jumping, do something with the hand, hit the ball rebounding from the net, from the top of the net, and the referee has to decide if this action was block or attacking action. I would like to give an explanation how to distinguish the two situations. Our approach, our actual approach, when there is an attacking action, the player makes a backswing with one or two arms and after that attacks the ball. Meanwhile, during the block, the hands are almost stable. There is no backswing. The player's intention is to intercept the ball coming from the opponent. We can see the two different situations. We understand very easy how to distinguish these two different actions. Let us see the block. Look the Holland player's hand. Did you realize any backswing? I'm talking about the number 18. Let us see again. It's a simple block. And after the block, the number 18 has the right to play. And of course, the opponent game captain approached the first referee, complains very strongly because he didn't realize it was a real block. I'm 100% sure that if this situation happens in his team, never complain. What was the level of the communication by the first referee? I'm a little bit doubt. Okay. And if it was necessary to punish the game captain's behavior, I'm not sure. But the crucial point of this video was not this, but to demonstrate the blocking action. Let us see a different one. It's absolutely fresh. I hope that we can demonstrate the number 15's arms movement, that it was a real, yes, it was a real attacking action, backswing. So it was the first team hit, and after that the team hits the ball 3 more times. So in this case, it was 4 hits. I hope that the
4 touches.
It was 4 touch because the first hit was not a block 1.
1, 2.
2, yes. The set is the third one.
3 and
the spike. Because the first hit should be considered as an attack, as a spike, as a first team hit and not a block. So the first referee applied bad the rule. So he had a misunderstanding. So let me stop. If all coaches, for all coaches, is it clear already what is the, in such situation, the real attack and what is only a block? Ori, is it clear? Because I see you only your name. Sorry, on the screen. Is it clear?
If I use my my hand to do this, it's a block or
it's a block. It's a block. So within the commission, this is really a new approach, and we agreed to distinguish this situation, these two actions on this way. So if it's clear that, I tried, yes. If the player used a backswing and attacked the ball, it is a spike, it is an attack, it's not a block. If the player intercepts the ball, it doesn't matter that with the hand, it's a, if I remember well, this is the active block, yes, active block with a little bit moving hand, but it's still. Oh, I didn't understand, I'm sorry.
No, somebody talked, just muted him.
Yes, a women voice. So anyway, if there is a more or less stable arm, but maximum moving hand to have an active block, it is still a block.
I can understand that when it's when somebody try to tip over you and you do it and it's active block, but if you are alone on the net, I don't think it's an active block. Like in the last position, when he tried to spike, if he do active block, it's not an active block because it's not blocking anyone.
Okay.
This is very easy, very demonstrate with the approach of the moving arm or not. It's clear.
All right.
Okay.
Let's continue.
Okay, net touch.
You know, we had an influx of people joining the meeting because probably they missed the hour, the Israeli time versus the Central European time. So instead of joining the meeting now at 7 Central European time, they're just joining now. Okay, Laszlo.
Mr. Herpai,
Okay.
can you hear?
Okay, can we go further?
Yep.
Okay, the next part of the problematic rules is the net touch. Again, I have to repeat that among some referees, there are some troubles with the net touch. And I'm 100% sure that not the actual text, not the actual wording is the final version of the net touch rule. The net touch rule is on the slide. The principle is that between the antenna and during the action playing the ball is a fault. The first sentence is valid for the unintentional net touches. I have to underline because all intentional net touch should be considered as a fault. Regarding the unintentional, it's a crucial point that between the antenna and during the action of playing the ball. What is considered as being action in the playing the ball? For example, a jumping player from the takeoff, hit, landing safely and ready for a new action. If the player has a stable position on the court, and after that, for example, turning to the end line and waiting, looking the next action of the teammates, and during this movement slightly touches the net, it's not a fault anymore. Okay.
We'll show video.
Yes, and let me add something. Practically, we teach the referees that if the ball and the player touching the net is close to each other, it's a fault. It's a net fault. In this situation, the number 12 is taking part a fake attack. During this, the number 11, the setter, could give the ball to the number 12 and to the position 2. So in this case, when the number 12 hits the net, he is still part in the playing of the ball, in the action. So in this case, his net touch should be considered as a fault. And he admitted, okay, I touched the net. It was a good decision. Coaches, do you agree? Regardless which team's coach you are. Okay, I was talking about the intentional net touches. Pardon? Okay. So I told you that all intentional net touch is a fault. It was a very scandal match, European Championship qualification tournament qualification match in Hungary against Macedonia. And let's go to the video. In the 5th set, there was one Hungary is a white team, and Hungarian spiker had an action. And if we watch the action of the yellow setter, we realize that he tried to mislead the referees, the opponents. He intentionally hit the net. So you see? And it would have to be called as a fault. Unfortunately, none of the referees realized this. It was a big scandal. It was 5th set, very close to the end of the match. So I underline, all intentional net touch, it doesn't matter that the player was in the action of playing the ball or not, is a fault. Okay, let's go further. You know, this video is talking about how to make some players a trick. Because the rule says that if the ball is coming from the opponent to the net and through the net touches the player, it's not a fault by the player. But this rule is valid only for the players who is standing a neutral position. For example, from a strong ball protecting the face or any part of the body. But if the player is looking for the ball and intentionally hits the ball through the net, it should be a fault. He's not only one player on the world. I saw several times this action, and I would like to ask the coaches participating here not to instruct the players to do this, and don't be from the back camera. It's much more better to watch. Look, the number 10 is chasing the ball, and after that try to mislead the referees. The referee was enough clever to realize and immediately call the fault. And the game captain also understood that it was a correct decision. Okay.
Any comments?
If no, let's go further to the penetration. which is, if I heard well, it's also not so clear among the coaches. So let me divide in two parts the body. The first part is above any part of the body above the net. With these parts, we can touch the opponent's floor, opponent's court, with a legal action, provided there is no interfere with opponent's play. With the feet, we have some limitations. Let us see if the foot or feet has a contact with the center line or above the center line, it's still a legal play, legal action. If the foot is completely touches the opponent's court, it's already a fault. Let us see one very interesting situation. And if I ask Ori to analyze the situation of the Brazilian national team setter, if it's correct or not. What is your opinion? And why?
Can you show it again?
Yes, of course.
Clearly no mistake.
Who votes it is a mistake and who votes it's not a mistake? And why?
It's a mistake. Both of the leg, just his arm was in his court.
Who votes it is not a mistake and why? Nobody has courage to speak, or nobody has courage to say against Ori.
Referee or coach?
Coaches,
Please, coach. Please, coach. Nobody?
You have to know, in Israel, I'm the king. Nobody can say against me.
Okay, I'm enough Braveheart, so again, to say against you. So if there is no other vote, let me explain my approach. And I'm saying it's not a fault. Why? What is written in the slide? All parts of the above the foot is allowed to touch the court, the opponent's floor. Okay. Let me ask, which part of the body has hit the opponent's court? The back side. Yes. If the foot or feet touch the court or not? No. And there is another rule that under the net, between the net and the floor, this is the external space, we can penetrate, we can reach, provided there is no interference with the opponent player. So my question is, the foot was in the air, yes. And it is allowed that the foot under the net, not on the court, under the net penetrate into the opponent's space, not opponent court, opponent space. That is the reason that because part of the body touching the floor was above the foot, the foot didn't touch the opponent court. So in this case, there is no reason to call a fault in this situation. And if there is not a reason, why to whistle? I was enough impressive, Ori?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I convinced you.
You are a good referee.
No, I fight always with several smart referees. Sometimes I was convinced, and more times they were convinced by me. So I have enough experience. Okay, and I suppose this is the last part of the
Wonderful.
Of the presentation, yes.
Yeah.
Hits with overhand fingers. I suppose this is one of the problematic actual rule in our volleyball. Yes, this is overhand fingers. Why? Because there are two very difficult topics in the life of the referee: to judge the ball handling immediately when the action was done, and the second is the discipline. We were already talking about the discipline. Now we are talking about the ball handling. So it's very difficult to make the line according to the actual match, according to the level of the players, because it's a stupidity that we keep the same approach as the top volleyball and on the mini volleyball. So we have to apply our line to the actual match, and it's not always easy. I have to tell you that what is written in the slide, perfect hit, perfect overhand fingers hit, does not exist. Why? Because if we have a camera with high speed, with very high speed, and we make it, we play it in slow motion, overhand finger pass, we can distinguish the first hit and the second hit by two different hands. So it's a theoretical thing that the two hands hits the ball in the same moment. This is the theory. So we cannot realize with the human eyes. So what is insisted to the referees? If in overhand finger pass they see that the hits are two different time was made, this is the double fault. But what is clear for everybody. If it cannot be realized, let them play. The second point is the spinning ball effect. Several coaches, several fans, several spectators, after a overhand finger pass, when the ball is spinning from the hit, immediately tried crying that, hey boys, it's a double, you're a stupid referee, why you didn't whistle? Let you take a ball, go in front of a wall, throw the ball to the wall, and look if the ball is spinning from rebounding the ball or not. I'm sure it will spinning. And my question is if the ball can make a double fault or not. So what I want to tell, it's not sure that if the ball is spinning from the hit, it was a double or not. It cannot be a base of the judgment. So please let you remind. So as it's written on the slide, only the clear double hits should be whistled. What may cause trouble for the people? If there is a nice defensive action, and based on the rule, a strict referee can whistle immediately a double. Let us see what I want to tell. On the right side, the Holland player, this one. Make a slight double. It is clear. It is clear. And immediately the game captain went to the first referee, smiling, okay. But to be honest, he was too strict, because it's written also in the guidelines, as I mentioned in the first part of the presentation, that if a player should make a big effort to reach the ball, if the player is not in a good position and makes a slight double, the first referee has to be less serious, less strict. And to be honest, we would like to eliminate somehow this approach, and to let them play in this situation. Maybe in the future will be done. We will put into the rule book but actually this rule still exists. So I suppose I finished my slides. Now it's your turn again to attack me with some questions, if you have. But Alex, don't forget, I have the last slide. So
no, I will.
Let us return. Let us return there. So if anybody has a question.
I just want to add something, if I may, to the coaches and to everybody. We tried to find some situations that we witnessed more arguments and more problems with the coaches during the match. Some of them were the net touches or all the plays that were running close to the net, penetration, and the double hit. So we tried to bring here the rules as they are so that you can understand. And like Mr. Herpai said before, a good coach knows the rules, but not just the rule book. There's 2 more books to know, to understand the plays and the rules themselves, and then to realize what the referee whistles about. And this communication, when you understand what the referee whistles, usually will help also to understand the fault or anything else. And that's those specific situations that we witnessed and we feel that were the most problematic for the coaches and the referees during the matches. We tried now to bring clarification to these rules so that everybody would understand perfectly for the next experience in matches. Thank you.
Agree with you, Roy.
There is a question from the crowd. Christian asked, good evening, is it possible to have presentation in mail or video? We will put the recording on Drive, and we'll provide the shareable link so you'll be able to listen to it. As far as the presentation is, Laszlo, is your call.
So no more question. Everybody understand everything from the next day.
I have a question, of course. Nobody asking. I'm asking. Can you explain the difference between the first referee and the second referee? Who watch what in the game? Who decide what? Who watch for the net? Who watch for the rotation? Who watch for the if the ball passed the net or not past the net? Or
it's clearly written in the guidelines and in the rulebook too, how the tasks of the referees are divided. The first referee has to follow the path of the balls all the time, and to judge the ball handling, where the ball was falling on the floor, in or out, etc. Meanwhile, the second referee concentrates to the net, to the illegal net touch, and the center line. And there are a lot of tasks which are belong to both referees. And both referees can whistle if they realize the fault. For example, the fault in a touch, for example, the penetration, for example, the faulty back row play, etc. So it's clearly written also in the rulebook, also in the guidelines. So I recommend you to ask Roy Goren to provide you these both documents.
No problem.
Or to ask him exactly what is the task sharing between the referees. And it's good to know because I saw several times that the coach start to protest at the second referee about the double or about the catch. And the second referee has nothing to do with this. So in this case, ask the game captain, please go to the first referee and ask him or her, why was this decision? Not to whistle or to whistle. And hopefully the explanation will be correct.
All right. Our friend Ari Jokanainen, probably from Finland, asks if you think, Laszlo, it's a good idea to meeting before the coaches and referees before start of the year. Do you think it's a good idea to meet with referees and coaches before or end of the season?
Both. Before the season, to give instructions what are the referees instructed, and after the season to analyze the season's experience. But the question is what level of so how, on which level to make this meeting with the representatives of the coaches and the referees, or representatives of the commissions. So it's in detail, but in detail lives the devil. So the main question, I prefer both, if possible.
Okay.
From what I heard from a friend of mine in Italy, Stefano Cesare, he told us that in Italy they have for several years already meetings before the start of the season. When there is the meeting of the coaches, they invite the chairman of the refereeing commission, Fabrizio Pascali now, and he gives a lecture to the coaches on some topics that he saw that were problematic in the last season before, and some topics and everything that guidelines that he will give to the referees for the upcoming season. And they have another meeting just before the playoffs, when the referees of the playoffs have a meeting, and they invite two coaches from the first division of those teams who are going to the playoff to lecture in front of or talk to the referees about topics they are expecting from the referees to do or to take notice during the playoffs. So there is an interaction between referees and coaches in all levels of Italian volleyball. He said it's been already done for several years. At the beginning, it was quite difficult because both parties were very stubborn and didn't want. They had a very strong ego, and nobody wanted to change the mind or to listen to what the other party was saying. But after one or two meetings like that, they had the tension was lowered a bit. It helped to make a more productive communication between both sides. And he says that not just the coaches have things to learn or to hear from the referees, but also the referees can learn and hear from the coaches and to know what the coaches are expecting and to help to have better communication. Thank you.
Okay, I told you communication.
There is a question from Christian Cristea from Romania. Question from Mr. Herpai.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of second referees which are following the balls during the action instead of watching the net. What is your advice for a second referee to act in a proper manner in order to don't miss the net touch, net mistakes or actions?
First, to ask more nomination as second referee, because the best referees are mostly nominated as first referee and they forget how to work as second referee. Second advice, as second referee, try to focus better to the net. And when the ball is close to the net, when the action is close to the net, concentrate. Train and try to train to do this. Maybe not in one moment to concentrate. When you train yourself, not to do overall everything, but step by step. In the first part, concentrate better to the net, and after that, when it's working well, concentrate also to the center line. So step by step, extend your concentration. Especially, it's valid for the starting, for the newcomer referees, because the beginners they don't know what to do, especially as second referee. Sometimes also top referees don't know, but it's another question.
And if I may just a small comment, it is much more difficult to be a second referee than the first.
It's true.
Okay.
Mainly
Anybody else, guys? All right. Last slide, Mr. Herpai.
So, finishing my lecture, yes, please, the last one. I hope my lecture was a little bit useful for you, and it may help to feel better the two parts, the referee's parts and then the coach's parts on the match, and they shake hands instead of attacking the referees, and I hope I told you something new, or something, or I confirmed your knowledge, and I'm ready to return if you think it was useful, and then it will be my pleasure again to help you to understand each other and to understand the rule. Thank you very much for the invitation.
Mr. Herpai, thank you very, very much. It was a really interesting session for everybody, and I know that all of the person here will speak around their country that it was a good meeting, and everybody will help another referee to understand, another coach to understand, and how you say, let's cooperate together, and the volleyball will be better for fans, for nice games and a nice situation. And I hope all the people here are well and the family are well. And thank you also for Roy and Alex and all my friends in Israel that participate and help for this session. And for you again, Mr. Herpai, thank you very, very much, and I hope to see you again, not in Zoom, but in the court around Europe or around the world. And we hope it will be soon, and everybody will feel well. Thank you very much. And
I'm sorry, Mayor, just before you close,
Alex,
Susanna,
put up a questionnaire. Excuse me, guys. We have put up a questionnaire, polling questionnaire for everybody. So we would really like to hear there are simple questions about about what we discussed, or some other things that we want to discuss in add-on meetings. It's mostly for the coaches, but you are free to answer. Please answer those questions. Okay, sorry. Yes, Nasha.
Only for coaches, yes?
Yes, only for coaches, especially for coaches.
Especially for coaches,
yes.
Okay, best regards for all of you.
Sorry, let's let them run a little bit more. 9 people, 10 people out of 38. We're now 38. At the peak, we were 46 people at the participants at the meeting. Roy Ben Simon is driving.
It was excellent lecture, dialogue, whatever you want to call it. It was excellent to understand a little bit your side. And I hope for the Israeli referee, hope to do it again, not on Zoom. As we talk here, we have to do it more than once in a lifetime, one in a Corona time. We have to do it more every year for me, I think. And I think also for you, it will be good.
If I may say, if the coaches will ask to make some seminar like that, we in the commission of the referee and Liga and games rules will make a seminar for all the coaches, no problem.
We will. Okay. So 1/3 of the participants answered our questions. Thank you. I will end the polling now and show the share results for everybody. So now we can see it's anonymous, so now we can see what was answered.
It's the number 2 can give a lot of work for the people who are creating these materials.
And you see, as you see, it's either mandatory or will help a lot.
Yes, will help a lot.
This
yes,
work
yes,
is the very helpful work and for everybody. We can all learn from it on all sides, coaches, players, and of course, referees. Okay. Last slide, last comment.
Thank you very much again for inviting. And see you next time. Ciao, all the best.
Thank you very much.
All the best.
Everybody.
Thank you, Laszlo, for...
Bye-bye. See you soon.
Hi, Susanna.
Hi, Susanna. Bye-bye.
How are you?
Thank you. Fine.
Bye, Susanna. All the best.
All the best, Arturo.
Ciao, Susanna.
All the
best.
Ciao.
Ciao, Herpai. How are you?
Ciao. Hi, Arturo.
Ciao, Laszlo. How are you? Long time, my friend. Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I hope to see you soon.
Yeah, of course. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Thank you very much.